The Making of Me by Shirley Dorigo, Wagga Wagga, 2650. Narrated by Chloe Schwank. What made me? Here in my 70th year, I am living my best life after a fairly uneventful journey. How did I get here? What shaped me into the woman I see in the mirror today? Not just my looks, but my principles, intellect, and passions. Let's start at the beginning. Born in the 1950s to slightly older parents, hard-working, honest, but firm introverts, I was an only child who was never indulged. With strict parents, we did not speak unless spoken to, and we treated everyone with respect back in the day. My childhood was a tad lonely, but I adored school. As I often did, I found my way to Brownies on Saturday afternoons, when I donned that hideous brown uniform and massive hat after proudly polishing my badge and shoes. It was on one such excursion that I attended a local church where I completed the pledge, vowing never to drink alcohol ever. As I top up my wine glass, I laugh about this now, but I was so impressed that I took myself off to Sunday school for many years, another layer to my making. I was a skinny kid, with knobbly knees and huge freckles on my nose. I hated those pesky spots with a vengeance, and knew that I was never going to be one of the pretty girls at school, nor later in life. Mum gave my hair a bowl cut until I was 10 years old, when I finally visited a hairdresser. What a look! But it was all I knew, just like the clothes she sewed, dressing gowns made from bedspreads, and muumuus from long skirts. God, she even made my underwear. I cringe when I visualize those flannelette bloomers. My cousins were my first friends of influence. So many family holidays were spent with them at the beach. As a Queenslander, I wore the compulsory white zinc on my nose, a bathing cap on my head, and a shirt under my togs. As a kid, I have fond memories of my father, on the beers, singing in a Scottish brogue with his family. I loved listening and dancing to music, especially the Beatles. Music has been a part of my DNA all my life. It is often my saviour and my happy place. I have been fortunate to have a few very close friends throughout my time. One I haven't seen in the flesh for 30 years. But the years melt away when we talk on the phone. A bridesmaid at my first wedding and a witness at my second, she swore she would never do that again. I was more of a scholar than a sportsperson at school, often lingering at the back of the playing field, praying to God that the ball never came my way. Teachers described me as quiet and unassuming. I took this to mean green and gullible. I was no natural genius, but I studied hard to do well. I left high school early to pursue training and employment. I knew I would reach my target eventually. I encountered an assortment of astonishing people every single day along the way. Gone was the shy, gawky teenager, soon replaced by a confident young woman. While my day job became tedious, I returned to further study, again, my making. All this paid off when I became a teacher. This coincided with my first marriage, but when I was offered a class, I couldn't take it because I was on my honeymoon. I have always joked that in hindsight I should have taken that class instead. On the professional side, I grew each day, basking in the glory of modestly changing people's lives. It wasn't rocket science, but students were transformed in my classes forever. Promotions came and I grabbed them. However, on the personal side, I just survived. Domestic violence, so prevalent today, reared its ugly head in my little world. I was two different people, confident and capable at work, but physically abused and manipulated at home. Yet I was often reminded that I was lucky to have a job and no children. However, this experience made me stronger. I was not to be a victim, so I eventually left. My single life was short-lived when I remarried and bore 2 children in 2 years. Becoming a mother was the highlight of my life, which moulded me. Gone was any self-regard, as I had two little humans who relied on me completely. This shaped me for many decades to come. Thank God for my supportive parents who were always there for me, especially when I had work commitments. I regard this as the best chapter of my life. I loved having the kids and watching them grow. My busy week embraced work and child-rearing, with evenings spent supervising homework, attending school meetings and kids' sports training. Weekends meant hours at their games, cheering from the sidelines, whatever the outcome. The flurry of birthday parties, baking, sewing, and existing for my kids became my wonderful world. The years became a joyous blur, so worth any angst to witness two beautiful people whom I loved with all my heart emerge. Back then, I didn't consider the effect that grandchildren would also have on me in later life. So, what really made me? Was it my humble parents who sustained me through all my chapters? My beautiful kids, whom I started on life's journey? My wonderful friends? My work colleagues and students who painted my world in a kaleidoscope of shimmering shades? Even those who hurt me? I have been lucky to encounter an amazing bunch of people during my time, each having gifted me a tiny drop to shape my makeup. While memories can become embellished over the years, every chapter has brought me joy. I have no regrets, because life has made me into the humble, giving, self-effacing, and stubborn being I am today. The end.